When Mick Foster and Tony Allen first went on stage as a duo, their plan was to try out a simple formula: traditional Irish music combined with love ballads. 9 years later, Foster and Allen are one of Ireland's most successful music exports.
I think it's an outstanding achievement that an Irish duo like Foster and Allen have enormous sales right throughout the world, and I think it stands good for Irish music and song.
This presentation was a high point in a career that began in Moat, County Westmeath in 1966. Both musicians started in a group called the Marylanders. They went on to become household names over 4 continents.
We have it here, presented to Foster and Allen by CMR Records for sales exceeding 2 million units worldwide.
Success didn't come easy. The Marylanders split. Tony joined a show band while Mick stuck to ballads, playing the same pub in Mullingar 5 nights a week for 7.5 years. But Mick had an idea.
Foster and Allen idea was all his. He had seen the Alexander Brothers in Cabaret here one time, and he was looking for someone to team up with him just as a duo. He reckoned there was a great future here in Ireland in the cabaret scene as with an Alexander Brothers type act, you know. And he asked me to go with him because I was playing in a band at the time, show band. I said not at all, it'd never work, you know. If you hadn't a band, you were out. So Mick used to play a little bit on the saxophone, you see, so I wanted him to join the band with us. So he said okay, he joined the band on the condition that if the band didn't make some kind of progress in 6 months, that we'd do his scene then. So naturally enough, the band didn't make any progress.
Foster and Allen entered the cabaret circuit in 1977. A year later, they recorded the song that was in many ways to become their trademark, Bunch of Thyme. For 2 years, the record went in and out of the Irish charts.
I don't know why, we could never figure out why. The only thing is every time you brought out a new single, the Bunch of Thyme seemed to come back into the charts and that finished the new single, you know. I don't know, it's just, it was I suppose our audience were the type of people who would probably hear the song on the side, well, I'd like to get that record, you know, but they wouldn't all decide at the one time, so there's, you know, selling at Christmas time and people coming home from England and hearing it and buying it.
It was in 1982 that Foster and Allen got their big break, and again Bunch of Thyme was the song involved. The Fury Brothers had been successful in Britain with Sweet 16, and the Foster and Allen song was released there. It reached number 17 in the British charts, and Foster and Allen were asked to appear on Top of the Pops.
At the time we figured it would be a great, it was great for us here, having an appearance on Top of the Pops. In England with our particular audience, I don't think it made a lot of difference because, you know, the type of audience we have don't really watch Top of the Pops. But then we got shows like Pebble Mill at 1 and the Russell Harty Show, and they were the ones that made a big difference to our audience.
General reaction was that Foster and Allen had gone on British television dressed as leprechauns.
Basically, the idea about the suits was that we'd be a little bit different than everyone else. So a guy in Dublin called Mick O'Riordan, he came up with the idea that we would wear 18th century clothes. He got the idea from the Barry Lyndon film. But unfortunately, if we had been wearing black ones or red ones or blue ones, there wouldn't have been any problem. But because we chose to wear the 18th century gear in green, everybody got the idea that they were leprechaun suits, which they weren't at any stage, nor they weren't meant to be leprechaun suits. But we got this leprechaun image from that, and then we did Top of the Pops, and everybody said that we dressed up as leprechauns just especially for Top of the Pops, where in actual fact Top of the Pops was 82 and we had been wearing those clothes from 76, you know. So then we brought in 2 guys to back us, a piano player and a bass player, and then we decided that we'd just go either casual or, you know, dress suits.
You did get a bit of stick about the leprechaun image,
didn't you? A little bit more than a bit of stick. Got a lot of stick, and it was all wrong.
Music is a career to Mick Foster and Tony Allen, but they didn't actually set out to sell 2.5 million records worldwide. They claim that they're simply playing the music they like themselves, and they've managed to identify a market, particularly among Irish emigrants. Maggie, for example, was a huge hit in Australia. To promote their music, Foster and Allen travel the world, but it's not, they say, as glamorous as it sounds.
Especially in places like Australia, where every gig is a flight away. So you're basically going from the hotel to the plane, from the plane to the theatre, from the theatre back to the hotel, and you just keep doing that over and over for 3-4 weeks. So by the time you get home, you definitely feel like putting your feet up.
After their Irish tour, Foster and Allen head off to Australia and New Zealand. A few weeks after they get back, they're due to start a British tour, then the United States and Canada to promote an album just released there, and then Britain again for the 1986 summer season. One country not included this time is South Africa, although they have played there before, and they won't listen to anyone trying to pressure them not to go back.
You know, we don't agree with anybody putting any type of pressure on us to do something or not to do something.
So basically it's your decision whether or not you go?
Yeah, 100%.
When we played South Africa, like, they were all multiracial audience. Even the road crew, like, was multiracial. And the guy who took us out to South Africa, he was the man who first got the government to allow multiracial concerts in South Africa.
The guy who brought us out on a tour actually at the start broke the South African laws by allowing coloured people into his theatre in Cape Town.
Whatever part of Ireland or the world they're in, each concert is preceded by a card game in the dressing room. They know the songs so well now, very little rehearsal is needed, and nerves, like the leprechaun suits, are a thing of the past. Foster and Allen are winning from the moment they're introduced to the audience. This was the concert in Cork's Neptune Centre. It could well be any part of England or Australia. The formula is the same. All the old foot-tapping favourites. Simple, but successful.
The top and the little bird singing and the melodies and the high notes ringing and the hoot owl cries over the ring and the blackbird disagrees. Singing in the night time, singing in the day. The little duck quacks and he's on his way and the other hasn't got much to say. The porcupine talks to himself. All God's creatures got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some sing higher, some sing out loud at the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands on the balls or anything they got now.